In any good story, you're going to have a rivalry. In Bannerlord, the geographical situation gives us likely rivalries for the field of glory. And in this episode and series, you'll learn to confront your main rivals with devastatingly effective tactics. Buckle up. Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. Welcome back again to another one of our tactical series covering rivalries throughout Calradia. Almost always you're going to have somebody on your border that's a problem, and in this case the Aserai, we will match up against the Khuzait. This is also one of the most asked for tactical matchups. It's an unusual matchup. Now we're going to do tier 3 through 5 units for everything except the noble class, and I'm doing this just so the armies are equal. We'll just show you this here at the beginning, and this will be repeated throughout all the battles here. Now we're giving the Khuzait 40% horse archers, which is a lot, but you will run into armies with this kind of makeup in your campaign, and the Aserai have a similar amount, not quite as many javelin cavalry, and we're badly outnumbered in this series. Now in order to demonstrate and also to talk more about the Aserai and their strengths, we'll go ahead and have a sergeant battle here to start. A minute or two of debauchery and disgraceful tactics by the AI here as we talk about some of these strengths and weaknesses of the Aserai. The first thing that stands out to me is they have outstanding infantry, maybe collectively the best infantry in the game, especially their axemen. In fact, they have the only tier 3 axemen in the game. It's a very powerful unit. The next thing that stands out is tons and tons of ranged weapons. Probably the most of any kingdom in the game. Maybe only Britannia is close, right? They have these horse archers that have a sword and a shield. I think it's also the only shield and sword horse archer in the whole game. So the Aserai, like a lot of the kingdoms, are quite unique. Their archers also have incredible amount of ammo. I think their tier 3 archer, which we will be featuring in this episode today, has 2 huge quivers of arrows, which is also really unusual. And then of course there's the incredibly potent Vanguard Ferris. Now some guys may watch episodes and say, I thought you said spear cavalry is terrible. Sort of, yeah. And then what I'm referring to is the noble lines. It is, but when you have javelins and you throw it at a high rate of speed, yeah, they crush it, right? It's the best skirmisher in the game, whether they're in a castle siege or on the battlefield. Not that any of that mattered here to the dipshit AI. They crashed into the wall here, killed your whole family. Let's make sure that we fight this battle with our controls and not this calamity of a battle. They didn't even get a 1-to-2 kill ratio there in a battle that it should be winnable. Now, I want to do... I was going to say some simplified tactics first, but man, this ridge presents an opportunity and it's too good to pass up. So I'm actually going to shift gears here based on our landscape, and we're going to do a reverse slope decline. A lot of guys are probably like, what the hell you talk? How can you do it there? Well, you got to remember how the horse archers move, right? They move from your right to your left. If we can sort of manipulate the horse archers to run right at the top of that ridge, man, is it going to be a massacre. All right, so let's get infantry. Let's see. The only divisions I want outside of this little valley is horse archers and an let's see, a Javcav division, probably a strong Javcav division, basically to force the enemy back every once in a while. So what we're going to do here is put out a bunch of archers in the valley. Reverse slope decline, for anybody who hasn't seen it before, is a tactic where you use the lack of line of sight from the enemy to manipulate them into a highly vulnerable position. It's very difficult to describe in 10 seconds. You're just going to have to see it here. So third, let's see, how do we do this? Second division can be used to basically push the enemy back as they come up here. I don't want them circling us. So we'll have a little bit of a sheepdog division there. I'm probably going to get a little confused with my divisions here, but archers in a big long spread in this valley with the infantry line towards the front. We've got this other weaker cavalry division. What we can do with them is put them also in a big long line down here And what that'll do is that'll limit the ability of the Consguards to shoot our guys once they do get down here. Horse archers kind of behind them there. It's nice to have horse archers behind your archers because they can shoot over your archers, obviously, since they're on a horse. Finally, we have this elite division of cavalry we can put towards the back of the map so that every time the Consguards try to circle us, we can basically push them back. Some guys frown upon using the back of the map here, and so we won't use the back of the map throughout this series. That's easily the best way to face the Khuzait. And look what's happening already, right? As they come up to this ridge, they are getting shredded with arrows. Now, all I have to do here is essentially prevent them from circling us. The way you do that is every time they come your way and you have a bunch of troops like this, run their direction. Just like a sheepdog, we're going to herd these guys right into the grave. Now, if they don't leave, right, just because of your physical motion, tell your units to charge. In this case, of course, our Vanguard Ferris are adding to their misery by chucking javelins at them as they flee. So that was a brutal exchange for them. Let's keep doing this. As long as they're going to just run their horse archers on the ridge, no reason to change our tactics here. And this has been incredibly successful so far. They can't circle us. The rest of their units are starting to come up and pepper us with arrows, but our archers have an entrenched position. And I don't see any way that we don't win this battle. Try to give you guys different angles of kind of what we're doing here. I can also use this other cav division. We can use both of them to herd the enemy back. Now, they're going to charge into the valley here at some point. We're going to want a cavalry collapse on them when they do that, right? When all of their infantry and cavalry charge down there, I want to have this 3rd Division and 8th Division here basically to collapse on the enemy. So first, let's try to trap the Consguards here. I've got one division moving up in a shield wall, the other's attacking, and we're just going to create a huge traffic jam for them as all these pathetic little Khuzait try to retreat, and the death spam is just fizzing green. You can actually hear them routing. They're like, oh, I can't stop them. All right, here comes the rest of their units. Let's move our cavalry up, and perfect, right? They just ran right into the trap. In fact, their cavalry is charging our infantry, or our palace guards are rubbing their hands. They're like, yummy. Cavalry to destroy. We'll have them charge. The rest of their infantry is kind of on the upper ridge there. If those, their infantry's committing as well. Now we can drag all of our cavalry down here into the valley on top of their infantry while they're being sprayed with arrows on the other side. Sometimes things are fortunate in a battle, like the timing just works out, and the enemy could not be more fucked here. They're getting slammed by cavalry, hit by javelins, charged by infantry, and shot to death by archers and horse archers. And this is quite a first battle for this episode. Admittedly, not all of this is repeatable, but hopefully some of these basic tactical tenets are things that you can adopt for your for your own campaign. And what an ass whipping we start with here today. I can't. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we edit these fights out, but I can't edit that one out, right? Just an absolute, complete bitch slapping of a huge Khuzait force. Their Consguards didn't even get a 1-to-1 kill ratio. Fucking beautiful. All right, let's search for a more neutral landscape here. We've used a Samantha Plain a lot. Let's use here some steppe, right? This is another area, especially if you're invading the Khuzait you're going to fight in. We'll fight a much harder open field battle. Although there's still advantages to be gleaned here, right? And of course, we're going to do tactics on top of that. As the Sergeant showed in that first battle, you're not winning any of these battles without tactics. Even very basic tactics might not win this battle in this situation against the Khuzait. Remember, we're outnumbered here by about 20 to 25%, give or take. We're outnumbered by a lot. All right, first and second. Let's form a little protective arch here for our archers. I want to have weaker archers protected, and we'll form sort of that. It's almost like a diagonal L shape. Then we'll have two different archer divisions, one exposed, because I want them firing with nothing in their way, and the other one, they can be kind of protected here. This 5th division of archers, they're weaker. They can have the protection of all those shields. Meanwhile, we're going to do a bracketed counterattack every time their horse archers come up. And this is a universal tactic for the Khuzait. They don't like being surrounded. Their horse archers, of course, they want to surround you. So if you can get the jump on them, if you can basically bracket them between divisions. Let me show you what I mean by that. This open area in between these different divisions here is basically the area that we want to contain their horse archers. I'll show you a little wider here with the RTS mod. That area in the center, that's where the horse archers are going to die. Now 230, there's a lot of them. Now there's a big advantage that we gain right away here. Horse archers cannot shoot behind them. And what I mean by that is they basically shoot looking over their left hip. If that makes sense, right? It's the way it's the way basically it works with your arms and your body, right? You can't really shoot with your right hand pulling back like that and then shoot over to your right. And so what they do is they kind of shoot towards their left or behind themselves or in front of them, but not to their right. So what we can do here is move our horse archers in on their right where they can't shoot. And these guys are utterly defenseless. In fact, they're retreating. These little pathetic Khuzait on a camel, their horses seem really small. They seem like these little tiny pathetic steppe horses. And we're just gonna rinse and repeat. This tactic is repeatable, and we have the added bonus that every single time... Oh shit, what do we do here? I must have fat-fingered something. Let's see if we can fix this. Damn it, hate doing this. Sometimes this happens in an episode, but I guess it's good. You guys can see me make mistakes and try to recover from that. Usually these are fatal. I moved like all of our divisions. I got a cav division out of order. See if I get shot off my camel here. At least our archers immediately were told to stop. And I think we're going to be able to recover this. Let's get these guys into a thicker wedge so that the palace guards are protected. This 5th division is really exposed now because they lost their protected cavalry. Let's see here. I think we're okay though. It's not a disaster. That was definitely a snafu though. You know, you got to be very careful. In battles like this where there's hardly any room for error, that might have been fatal. We'll see. We'll play it out still. You guys like to see me struggle sometimes, so we'll see what we can do here. Now, our 5th division without that protected cavalry is getting shot to pieces. If I try to protect them with that cavalry, those guys are going to get shot to pieces. So it's kind of a pick your poison situation. Now, I am going to continue to use our horse archers. The enemy has changed tactics. They are now just attacking us in a frontal manner with their horse archers. It's rather interesting. But what did I just say, right? 30 seconds ago. Oh, you guys are like, you said, oh shit, I moved all my units around. No, okay, 10 seconds before that, I said they can't shoot to their left or to their right, right? So we're going to continue to put our 82 horse archers to their right. Those guys can't be shot by anything except standing archers, and their horse archers are kind of sitting ducks, right? They're in the river on top of that. We'll probably do at least one battle where we use water and terrain to destroy the Khuzait as well. Although we already had the reverse slope decline in that first battle. Now, we're doing pretty well here, skirmishing at range, right? And a lot of battles against Aserai and Khuzait are going to be skirmish battles, where there's not melee. Everything is at range, right? You're shooting, guys are throwing javelins, the horse archers are working. Both of these kingdoms have an enormous amount of archers, horse archers, etc. Now, I'm trying to chase the Khans guards away while I reset our 7th division. I'm not sure that was successful either. Things are starting to devolve a little bit here, just because a few of my strategies were thrown out of order when my units got all mixed up. But, you know, I'm looking up at the power bar. We're still definitely winning. It's just a question, to me, it's a question of ammo at this stage. And I'll mention that again here, right? I already mentioned it. The Aserai have an incredible amount of ammo. Not their horse archers, but their standing archers will shoot all day. I think the only ones that have more are probably Britannia, and that's an advantage that you want to take full advantage of, right? You want to basically embrace long, slow skirmishes like this. It actually favors the Aserai. Look at my camel with 27 arrows in his neck. We're still alive though, right? We're still shooting. Our archers are still at least holding their own at range against the Khuzait. Now we've got our little shield wall infantry division here absorbing 80,000 arrows. Those guys are completely shot to pieces, but they're not dead, right? Those guys are still alive. The Aserai infantry is very tough. And I'll mention that here. I haven't really given them props. The Aserai veteran infantry, it's their tier 5 sword, shield, spear guy, is my favorite infantry besides the Britannian wildland. They are outstanding units. They're just all around studs. And of course, we've had an entire episode covering them. All right, shit's happening here, as my wife likes to say in the bedroom. Things are occurring here. The enemy's charging. We like that, right? We've got a cav division and the 3rd division coming over to support them. Our main infantry division is ready to fight, too. We've got palace guards behind the veteran infantry, and I'm also starting to circle the enemy here with the 3rd division. Now, our horse archer situation is not good because they're probably out of ammo. And we're really sort of down to slugging it out, right? The tactical moves have been made in this battle. There is a point in a battle where F1, F3 is really the best strategy. It's just not the first 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes of a battle. Death spam is pretty rough. They still have quite a few horse archers. They have a lot of archers. The archers are disconcerting. It's my job now with this really slow camel to run this 3rd division of heavy cavalry through their archers and try to knock these guys around. I think our infantry will eventually prevail. But these archers are a problem. There's a lot of them here. They must have 120, 150 archers. And I'm just trying to drag our cavalry through them. This is the best way to use cavalry once they're out of ammo. You get shot off your camel. It's just to keep them occupied. Right? Run through repeatedly. They sort of chase after guys. They drop their bow for a second. As long as they're not shooting, archers are bitches. And when they start to shoot, you're in trouble. It's a zero-sum situation. Right? As soon as they shoot, you get killed. If they're not shooting, you win. You know, archers are pretty badly dispersed, too. I see one division is still up. I didn't tell you, but I moved it to the enemy flank. I was hoping that their little side angle over there would be beneficial. I'm not sure it was the best decision now because oh, shit. We're losing horses left and right. Taxi! We got another one here. People are starting to rout. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. All we really have is this archer division and a handful of cavalry. I was going to say a handful of cavalry. It really does look like most of the cavalry are starting to rout. So not quite the battle I envisioned here, although again, for being outnumbered and having a snafu, it could be worse. Let's concentrate our archers over the edge of this ridge, suffer some losses as we pull over here, but I think it'll be net useful. Get away from their archers a little bit and work on some of these other units. We got, how many total do we have here? We got 100. It's about 100. Most of them are still shooting. And this is going to be a razor close battle. This is basically, let me explain this process too, because a lot of players, I mean, you probably innately understand this, but this battle right here literally hedges on whether or not I can kill 6 guys or 10. And the reason is because if you kill enough archers, that's exactly what happens. You hear that guy yell, the enemy must rout for us to win this battle. We're out of ammo. A lot of guys are standing there. I must get in here and score 3, 4, 5 kills or else we're going to lose this battle. It's starting to tilt in the enemy's favor. As you can see the power bar up there. But if I could kill like 2 or 3 more, they might rout. It's super close. Come on, boys. Our guys are routing. I don't know if that was theirs or ours. And they just routed. So about as close as a battle can get in the custom battle menu. They routed. We can't have more than 40 troops here. 47 troops. Let's gather our forces all together here in case there's something else, some other threat there. But I think we got it. And it's kind of fun to include the old nail biter in here. Man, barely won here. But victory's victory, right? Again, against 600 troops, we will take that. Trying to think of what else to do here. We need to do, let's do at least one water battle for today's episode, and then we'll wrap it up with an easy mode tactic. All right, let's do this Kalsa River plain here. Yeah, this plain here will be perfect. And let's get Audacious here, right? It's not bad enough to be outnumbered by 20%. Let's do like 35, 40% here. This is not a battle you normally can win, but we have water here, or at least this map has a lot of water. So if we can use that water, slow down the horse archers. Here's our water. Then maybe we got a shot. Let's see how we're going to do this. Okay, we've got a ridge there we can hide behind. We can roar up and sort of attack them once they're in the water. I think this will work. 4th, 5th. Let's do 2 archer divisions, 2 cav divisions, our main infantry division, and a horse archer division in the 7th. These divisions I've just gotten so used to playing these that they're second nature. If you're wondering why I do this, you can certainly choose to use whatever divisions you want. The 2nd division will be defensive, and the 3rd division of cavalry will be offensive, our vanguard Ferris. Now, the enemy's 600 units away, so I got 30 seconds essentially to describe what we're going to try to do here. I want the enemy in the water. I don't want to skirmish across the water. So because of that, our troops are set back here a ways. In fact, they're probably not visible to the enemy right now. They can't be shot at from where they are. And that's purposeful. We're going to make sure we don't move up. Now, as the horse archers start to enter the water, like they start to commit, where a large portion of the enemy horse archers are in the water and coming our way, we will roar up and open fire. One of the luxuries we have with the Aserai is speed. We can move our Vanguard Ferris up in a hurry. We can move a cav line of defensive cavalry in their face and put shields up, and then we can bring horse archers to the flank. I think collectively that'll buy us enough time for the rest of our archers to set up here. And the key is pretty simple. In the water, their horse archers are going to be fish in a barrel, moving slowly, and this is a pretty deep river if I remember. They will be shot to absolute bejesus pieces by our archers. Now, there's going to have to be, still some tactical maneuvering. We can't just move our troops to the edge of the water here and call it a day. We're outnumbered by 35-40%, right? They have a huge amount of cons guards, other elite horse archers. It's going to be a challenge still, and it's not like the rest of the units are just going to sit across the river and watch us destroy their horse archers. But this early exchange here should be really powerful and really positive for us, and that's another thing that's worth mentioning about battle. The first 200 deaths, if you can make it 80% the enemy, most battles are over. In other words, if you can gain a huge advantage right away, that battle's usually over. And we have gained that advantage. Look at this shit. They are right jammed up here at the edge of the water. The better part is they're on our side of the water, so our guys can move at full speed. They have this huge riverbed they're going to have to slowly trudge through to retreat. Our 3rd Division just got behind them, and now it's kill a Khuzait day. Look at how badly they're penned up here. They're getting shot to pieces, and the death spam tells you all you need to know, right? They're not even trying to attack. They're just getting skewered. Now they just turned to charge. That's actually good for us. Let's move infantry and cavalry towards them here. Let's close the vice. Right? They're basically trapped because we have Vanguard Ferris behind them, and they don't want to be attacked, right? Horse archers want to shoot. And we've got now infantry and cavalry chucking javelins at their front. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Now on the other side, our archers are going berserk, right? They're just firing unimpededly into the water here and racking up kills. The enemy's still going to get kills. The enemy archers are shooting. Of course, they're hitting our Vanguard Ferris. And they're probably hitting our archers across the river. But I still like this setup here. The Khuzait with the accent from Wales or something like that. Must be I heard Genghis Khan was born in like Leeds or something like that. All right, so there's enough horses nearby for our infantry to be unleashed. They have a huge infantry line and archers in the center here, so let's approach this tactical. Our archers are behind me to my right. Let's take our archers, or excuse me, our infantry to our left, and I'll show you what we're going to do here. This is why tactics are so universal. We did this over and over again in the Sturgeon campaign. In the Sturgeon episode, we have tons of archers just flaying and shooting over here. In fact, we can put one even further on their flank. And now we're going to put our infantry to the enemy's, well, it's their center now, but you see how it's spun their troops? And these guys are now literally right in the line of sight of our archers as they just flay everything. Now, I don't want our infantry to attack. I just want them to basically shake the hands of the enemy while they get shot to death by our archers. We got archers, we got horse archers, and the enemy is just being torched. And they just charged, but I think it's better if we just stand here defensively, right? Just hold the line while our archers work. In fact, let's form a square here and get... Oh, shit! This camel got dropped again. Let's pull this infantry the opposite way and just let those archers work, right? We're just going to move away from our archers, and the enemy either has to charge our archers, which won't be good for them, or get smoked by our... It's such a satisfying sound, too, to hear the enemy yelling and screaming, "Help! We can't stop them!" as they get obliterated by that tactic there. Just pulling the infantry the opposite direction while our archers shot them to pieces. The rest of the horse archers have been in the water most of this battle. Now we just got to close the battle here, right? Close the deal. Let's get infantry moved up in their face. Give me your horse, dude. Thank you. Oh shit! God, I'm losing a lot of horses this episode. infantry's just holding a shield wall line. I like that because we have a bunch of archers working. That's their troops routing, and this battle is over. So a relative doom stack here of Khuzait, 670 troops or something like that. We're outnumbered by 35%, and we waxed these guys too. All right, so let's see. So far, so good in this episode, this demonstration of Aserai tactics. I played the Aserai campaign for a couple hundred hours, so I'm a bona fide Aserai expert at this stage. And that was pure domination. But you know what we need to do? We've got to include at least an episode or two of what I would consider, not an episode, but a battle or two of what I would consider sort of console and or easier tactics. This was a destructive victory, but that's a lot to do with the console. Let's see what we can do here with some simplified tactics. All right, so let's do a version of this battle of what I consider more simplex tactics here. Now we're outnumbered, but not quite as severe. The bottom line is, without advanced tactics, I don't think you can win hugely lopsided battles. Still, we're outnumbered by about 15% here in a battle that would be difficult without tactics. Now what we're going to do is what I would consider simplex tactics, and the kind of tactics you could do probably on the console. A lot of times console players are like, you know, what kind of tactics can I do? What you're doing is way more complex than what I can handle. Let's try to give you guys an easy setup here. So we're going to use the terrain a little bit, but mostly we're just going to be using formations intelligently. And I'm going to try to do most of this so that there's a minimum of movement and micromanagement after the battle starts. I think that's what I would define as simple tactics. We're going to have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Let's just have one archer division. We don't even need to get that complex with flanking and stuff like that. We will have 2 cav divisions, one playing defense, the 2nd division, and the 3rd division I will lead with this captain, and we will be offensive. Now there's a bit of a ridge here. We probably want to form up somewhere behind that. It's always better if the enemy sort of falls into a lower area like that, because then your archers are shooting down over them. Something like that is probably good. The 1st division is going to be almost purely defensive. We only have 77 archers in this, or 77 infantry in this example. The horse archers, I'm just going to position on our far right flank, and these guys are going to be set and forget. I might have to charge at them if they run out of ammo at some point or other in this battle, but we're going to fight this battle with a minimum of tactics. In fact, just to give you a look at what we're doing here, it's a very simple defensive structure. We know Khuzait is going to try to circle counterclockwise, right? They're going to try to swirl around us. I'm not sure if that might be worse, actually, moving us up like that. The reason you put cavalry in front of your archers is to prevent them from getting charged, number one. To prevent them from getting shot by every single arrow. A lot of the arrows will find your horses instead. Find armor, find a shield. Much better than your archers being shot. Meanwhile, the archers will generally shoot right through the holes where the horses are standing here, right? So all these different archers here, it's almost like they're in a castle. They can still shoot because they're shooting between, you know, the shoulders of the cavalry in front of them, but they're highly protected. All right, now we're going to do a little bit of micromanagement. Of course, you're not just going to sit there and command the whole battle in a situation like this and just whistle Dixie and win. But we're not going to have to do too much. I'm going to use this 3rd division to try to trap the enemy at the back of the map. We're leaving the back open in case they want to circle. That's for sure the easiest thing to do. And actually, they're really getting snarled up by our horse archers being on this flank. I mean, the death spam looks amazing. They are starting to circle, and you know, you could definitely set up at the back. That's the easiest, but in this case, I'd rather just trap them, right? We can bring our 3rd division back there and really lay waste to them. We did a number, though, on their initial attack, and look at all the shields full of arrows, right? That simple tactic of putting shields out in front has already yielded us big benefits. Now I'm going to square the infantry and move the archers back. I know that's a couple steps that I am doing in addition here. And I'm just dragging this 3rd division until they're back here with the Consguards, right? As soon as they can shake their hands, we'll tell them to kill everything in sight. Those guys will go to town. That negates the horse archers from circling us, right? That one simple move, right? Suddenly Aserai Vanguard Ferris are screaming and yelling and throwing javelins. Over here, the horse archers are still spraying away. It's kind of amazing they were left alone in this battle. In fact, most of them have shot their whole quiver. So these guys just holding up their scimitars will have them charge. And I think this battle is over, right? You could definitely micromanage some more. You could run your cavalry through their archers, for example. But how's this for simple? Well, this is an opponent that for sure the AI butchers and they get crushed by. We just mangled them here. They're all going crazy around our square. They're having a big potluck while our archers just go berserk. And of course the MVPs are the archers. How many times do I mention it, right? If you don't have 30 to 50% archers in your army, it's not a great army. That's all there is to it. Or more accurately, it's not a well-built army. I don't mean to denigrate different army types. The bottom line, though, is a Bannerlord archers are king, and so if you don't have a good amount of them, you're losing. And this battle's over. The Khuzait is running every which way. They look like a chicken with their head cut off. Our cavalry's rounding them up, and we didn't just win here with simple tactics. We smashed the enemy into next week, which also shows you the strength of both archers and the Aserai. Let's do a little harder challenge. In fact, let's try to do an Audacious challenge for this last one. I think this will be the last one we include. Let's do like 35% more troops than we have, right? Not a battle you're supposed to win. And we will also try a little less archers. Suboptimal, right? I already said you need archers to win at Bannerlord, and we're going to try less. Doesn't mean you can't win. It just means it's a lot harder. Let's see, heavy cavalry. We have a lot of infantry and I'm sort of thinking about what I'm going to do here. I think a classic ring defense makes some sense here. There's not enough daylight. Hold on a second. Let's try noon and we'll get some good daylight. You guys can't see, you're not going to learn shit, right? So let's go ahead and fix that. There we go, nice and bright. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to have a horse archer division, an attacking cavalry division to basically herd the Khuzait into a death mill. We'll have a center square to handle a huge cavalry charge because they're going to have a huge cavalry charge, right? We gave them a bunch of cavalry, a whole bunch of infantry. Let's see here. We'll do just the second division in a ring. And how do we do the infantry? It'd be better if I broke them into shock troops, but to simplify this, I think we'll just do the most basic tactic and just have a big shield wall at the front of our circle. Effectively, what I'm doing here, and I know this as a veteran of, I was going to say an expert, yeah, sure, or an expert of thousands of battles at this stage. If you have your infantry together, most of the time it's going to perform worse than if it's separate, if you know what you're doing. Right, so in this case, I would rather have shock troops separated from the shield infantry, but it's okay. If we don't win this battle, it's not the end of the world. You guys are getting a lot tactically. It's not like I have an ego I'm trying to preserve here. So weak archers in the middle, that's important to protect them. Then we're going to have this third division over here. They're one of our sheepdog divisions. Again, the design behind that is to basically prevent the enemy from circling. We're going to charge them every time they try to go around us. And then we'll have a very strong archer line here in what I call a firing squad. They're very close together, but every single guy can shoot. And as the enemy horse archers circle, just like a clock, they run into, it's about 7 o'clock on a traditional clock that none of you young kids can read. They get mown down by this firing squad. Now it's our job with the other divisions to herd them right at those guys. The center's going to take a beating because of the angle of this slope. You don't really want to have an angle like that because our archers are highly exposed. The traditional shields of these cavalry and first division, not going to help them very much. In fact, those guys are going to get executed. But it still has a chance to work because we're going to be able to slam them with Vanguard Ferris. This firing squad is our best archers, so they're going to do major work there on that flank. And then on the far side, the horse archers, again, it's the blind side shooting where the Khuzait can't counter. It's almost like a cheat code. If you put horse archers to the enemy's, or the best way to think is your left, right? The enemy's right, their horse archers can't counter them, right? Just make sure they don't get behind them. So we'll move our Vanguard Ferris up here, and we're just trying to hurt them, right? We're just going to push them the other way. When they turn around, they're just going to get smoked by archers. And of course, if they don't turn around, you charge. Now, you're very happy to have your Vanguard Ferris throw javelins at 20 feet away. Now, the horse archers are a little bit late, but I think it's still going to work. Look, they're not turning. There we go. That'll make them turn. Have a javelin in the teeth, boys. And you can see the javelins flying through the air. It's a beautiful thing. Now, the enemy's attacking with a huge amount of cavalry. I do have to counterattack, right? That first division has to charge. If you don't charge here, you really lose out on a lot of potential kills. I know some guys on I can already hear the console guys are like, I can't do all this. I don't know what you guys can do, right? Some console players pull off kill boxes and all kinds of advanced tactics. I'm just trying to do the best I can here to help you fellas. All right, so I'm going to continue to just herd these guys with this 3rd division. Right? Anytime the horse archers get close here, right? A whole bunch of Vanguard Ferris in their face. Get the fuck out of here. Now they've got infantry kind of heading towards our archers. I don't think we can tolerate that. I think we're going to have to charge that with cavalry and try to break it up. Our horse archers here are moving closer, just as a consistent repelling attack against their archers. And let's drag this 3rd division through here and just try to disrupt all this infantry. Don't want these guys getting to our best archers. God, they have a lot of cavalry still going nuts in the center. All right, let's kill their archers. They have a huge amount of archers, and I've got these horse archers that are probably out of ammo, and I have this 3rd division following me. This is one of the easiest tactics that I think console players can do. Tell a couple of cav divisions to follow you, and then just run up and down the line like you're an airplane landing at an airport. We've got Aserai Camel 067, you are cleared for landing on runway Khuzait 042. Execute all Khuzait archers. Roger that. 07 landing on 108 Khuzait forces here. We will smash them with our camels. Right, and you just run up and down this thing just like you were playing a flight sim. Of course, and then your plane crashes and everybody's killed. Shit, I'm fucked. Get in here. Where the hell is my guys? So that's not supposed to happen. You hopefully won't have an unarmored camel in your campaign. I'm just trying to get a horse here, steal a horse. They definitely disrupted my plan. But you guys get the gist, right? Don't get killed right in the middle of their archers, these bitch-ass motherfuckers. Make sure you're not... the guy wasn't even sprinting. So a little bit messy here at the end. But hopefully enough of this... We might still win. But hopefully enough of this is going to transmit to you console players. Their bitch-ass archers are trying to find an opening here as our camels track them down, cut them down. I might need to eventually do a campaign where we just have like 400 camels. I'm sure it would look epic. I'm not sure it would be great for the battlefield, although we could get one of those upgraded camel mods where they have better armor or something like that, because it would look amazing just to see camels trampling everything in sight. Alright, so at least we have a horse. We're still trampling, but there's an awful lot of death spam. I think the enemy must still have infantry tearing up our archers. Of course, don't forget we gave the enemy like 35% more troops than us here, so we're really badly outnumbered. In fact, here comes a bunch of horse archers that I'm surprised are still left. What do we got going on here? Do we have any other troops besides our cavalry? Not many. I'm still going to continue attacking these archers, right? Any guy that pulls his bow back to shoot an arrow, spear right in the face. Man, I just love the sound of defenseless archers getting hit with the lance at 30 miles an hour. It's a good thing for the world I've had a great life with an amazing wife and a good career. Otherwise, I probably would have been a mass murdering serial killer. Just killing people and just making fun of the sounds they're making. There goes that subscriber count. Minus 20, minus 30. The FBI's listening. Well, this battle doesn't really matter which direction it goes, but hopefully this episode was packed with interesting tactics and things for you fellas to absorb and try. In fact, here's another one. We've got a whole bunch of infantry here, right? You see the infantry with their cavalry. The AI is not smart enough to keep their units together, so even though they have more units collectively there, you can tell by the power bar that we're in trouble here. Pull their cavalry away from their infantry. What we can do here is essentially isolate their units and fight in detail. Instead of fighting all of their cavalry and infantry at the same time, now we can pick off their cavalry, hopefully kill them all before their infantry catch up to us. It's just a little thing, right? But these are the kind of things that might make the difference in a battle like this. Now I really want to win this battle. Fuckers. Kill my camel. I'm gonna kill you guys and mimic the sounds of you dying. Of course, they got cons guards left. This is, it's a tough battle. But Winnable? Probably not. They're moving up spears in a hurry here. Yeah, we just ran through their infantry. All right, let's wrap this shit up. I'm gonna just start my intro here because this last part doesn't mean a thing. I appreciate you fellas. Of course, this series is going to roll on probably 10, 12, 15 episodes. A lot of that depends on you guys. If you want to continue, if you want to see these popping up in your feed from our channel, hit that like button, right? Recommend it to a friend. Recommend it on Reddit when someone says, hey, I'm playing against the Khuzait and I can't fucking beat him with the Aserai. Tell him there's this guy who likes the sound of death on YouTube and mimics the sound of the dying. Whee! That they should go watch, right? Help me out here, spread the word. You know, if these episodes are fairly popular, we'll make a bunch of these. It's still fun for me to try tactics even after all of these battles, and believe it or not, I still learn stuff even at this stage. So with all that said, of course, you want to subscribe if you want to see more, fellas. I appreciate you guys. Please hit that like button. It's a very simple thing you guys can do to help the channel. And with all that said, I will see you friends next time. Fucking bitch ass Khuzait.